See you sucker soon on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day. Kids got their quizzes and I've got a day.
Welcome to Schenectady Today. I'm Ann Pearl, your host. We got a great lineup today. I'm going to tell you who's on today because we got 6 segments. Oh, the S's are terrible. I can't say my S's today. We're talking about the toolbox. We're going to be talking about Empire State Aerosciences Museum. We'll be talking about Confetti Stage, Albany College of Pharmacy, the Trinity Alliance, filmmaker John Kring. Always a blast to have him on. And we're talking with the Tribes Hill Heritage Center as well. But right now we're going to start right out. Oh, our breaks today are going to be the powwow from Montreal, which was fabulous that we went to. But right now we're going to be starting out with the Colony Service Centers Incorporated. Did I get that right? And we're going to be talking about their toolbox. Well, what's a toolbox? It looks like they brought a toolbox with them. And I see this is is that a plane? Yeah, yep. Oh, we're going to be talking about planes later, too. But that's a different plane, right?
This one doesn't fly.
This one doesn't fly. Lauren, you brought these gentlemen with you, and how nice. And so tell us what the toolbox is.
Toolbox is a very unique concept in the Capital District. We take in donated used tools. For example, Mrs. Smith's husband has passed away. An elderly couple is downsizing. Somebody inherited a house, and they have a cellar full of tools you're no longer using. We take them in as donations, which keeps stuff out of the landfill, so we're decreasing garbage in our landfill. People get a tax receipt, so they get a little something back on it. We have an all-volunteer staff that works there.
These guys?
All volunteers that run the retail store, a little brick and mortar at 1693 Central Avenue, Wednesdays to Saturdays, 10 to 2.
Okay.
The proceeds from, so it keeps everybody busy.
You get donations, and then people go in and buy it, and that money you take and put it towards the umbrella, right?
Correct. So Mrs. Smith, for example, is a very low-income senior, and she needs a new hot water heater. We have a little stockpile of money by which we can use to help somebody out. So it's the ultimate do-gooder program. It's the full circle of recycling stuff, keeping garbage out of the landfill, keeping people busy. Not that these guys need to stay busy. These volunteers are all busy. Well, you know. There's no retirement. That's just a different job.
Just something new.
But everybody.
But it keeps you young.
It does keep. Amen. Amen. And the proceeds go back to help other people. So we're helping each other out.
So first of all, let's talk about tools. This is an example of the tools that you get. Those look pretty nice.
We have the coolest collection of things we get. Just recently, somebody brought in this fascinating little toolbox.
Oh, I know. That's a strap. For sharpening. Oh, no.
No, it's a toolbox.
Oh, that's a toolbox.
So
okay.
it came in with a broken strap. I collect sort of antiques. You know, lots of junk in my house.
Well, come over. You can always come over to my house. I probably could fill in the rest.
One of the guys, Mark Garcia, went home and pop riveted it together today. Unfortunately, while we were carrying it in, it did have a little malfunction.
Yeah. That's okay.
But we get fascinating tools. I mean, and it isn't just for people. If you're looking for tools for a little project around the house, you know where to look. But these guys they all bring a level of expertise too. So it's not like going to Lowe's when you walk in the store and you hope that the guy behind the counter used to work at Wendy's the week before. These guys all have levels of expertise in tools, and they can say, you know, this is a fun, quirky old hand tool, but you can find, you know, new shower heads, you know, levels to do a project. Somebody can explain the difference between a rip saw and a hand saw, you know, and what they do. And, you know, to pay $3 for a hand saw that, you know,
oh my gosh,
retail would be what, Jim? $50? What do you think, Mark? I mean, you know,
$29,
right?
$39.
So you can find treasures in there. It's
well,
a treasure
and what
chest.
I like is that if you have a job, you can go get the tools you need, and then you can donate them back in again.
Absolutely.
So introduce these guys, because I'm not sure we know who the guys are.
Okay, so Mike Snyder is with the RSVP program. So Mike,
thank you.
Retired senior.
Retired and senior volunteer program for the Capital Region.
Of the Capital Region,
correct,
not just Colony.
Correct. Yes,
okay.
yes. It's a federally funded senior corps program sponsored by the Corporation for National and Community Service, with the goal of engaging seniors in volunteerism throughout the community to meet community needs. So a bunch of our volunteers, we partner with about over 55 stations, as we call them. They're different nonprofits that we collaborate throughout the capital region and kind of act as a clearinghouse for volunteer opportunities. So we we recruit for volunteers, and we also refer volunteers to those organizations.
And how do they get a hold of you?
We have an office right in Colony. I'm stationed right in Colony Senior Service Centers, Inc. I can be reachable by phone or email, and they get in touch with me.
And you'll find a spot for them.
We'll find a spot for them. Call them in, assess their interests, and see what they're interested in and what we can offer.
Yeah, and what they can offer to your
Exactly.
program
Most
as well.
importantly, yes.
Okay. Lauren, who else?
So the rest of these guys aren't volunteers. This is Jim Turillo.
Hi, Jim.
Jim, when he came in, he knew a couple of the folks here. He's involved in so many things in the community.
Village Singers, Mary
Yeah.
Lou.
Oh, yeah, you know Mary Lou.
And Mal.
Yeah.
Work with them.
Good.
Senior Center.
And he does a lot. Again, you know, these guys.
He's going to
all
sing a song for us
bring-
today?
That's what I
or
said.
no?
Maybe they can sing.
Sing
Mark
a song for
Garcia.
expense.
I'm sorry. Mark Garcia has been with Toolbox since its inception, and Mark is our small motor man. He's an umbrella handyman. He's a Toolbox volunteer. He's an endless source of information. We pick his brain daily.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I've been with the program, as Lauren said, since the beginning, I guess. One of the things I like about it is seeing some old, quirky tool that comes in, and I may not know what it is, but some of my fellow volunteers will know, or some of our customers will know. We have fellows that come in almost every week, probably 10, 15 fellas that'll come in every week, and between one of them we'll figure out what this thing is. Some very obscure tool, and that's fun.
I know, because times change. It's funny because rather than me going to a mall, I'd love to go to hardware stores. Especially older ones, you know, but they're gone now.
And we serve coffee too, so the guys come in. I mean, several of the regulars have their own coffee mug they keep there, and the guys kind of hang out and chat and visit. It's a very
Let's
social
meet
thing.
the last gentleman here.
And John Fox is the manager, coordinator. I don't know exactly what he's the chief cook and bottle washer of all things Toolbox.
So I really don't have to do that much. I mean, all the volunteers come in and on each day when they know their job and run the cash register, talk to the people, explain different tools and that.
This is amazing. I did not know you existed, but I have tools for you. I'll bring them over to you. I've got to clean out my tools.
It's a fun place, really. The merchandise changes every day. Things rotate all the time. The guys will tweak them, clean them up a little bit, you know, put things together. You know, we get this, but it's missing this, and
But you found this that had one of those.
right,
The
exactly.
other
You
end
put it
doesn't work.
together. Yeah. So it's fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun place
That's
to
great.
go and visit. And right now we have a sale because we're moving. So we've been at the present location for 3 years, and rent is a little tough some days. So we found another location where we think we're going to have a higher traffic.
And where is that located?
It's at 143 Troy Schenectady Road, heading right on
Near
Route 2.
Waterville?
Yes, heading into Waterville.
Okay.
At the Hilltop Plaza.
Okay, great.
Hillside.
Hillside.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a good location. The move is going to be fun. We're in the process of downsizing.
You want to downsize.
Right. So
Everybody else is downsized to you. Now you got to downsize
That's
because you
right.
got to move. And it's tough to move all that stuff.
it is. So everything right now in the store is 50% off. And then starting next week, it's going to go to 75% off.
Okay, good.
So
Anybody
bargains
needs
galore.
tools, go over there. They're located on Central Avenue, and I think it's 1693 Central Avenue,
Yes.
right? Good.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here and
Thank you.
kind of educating me a little bit on what your project is and how great Umbrella is for the community as well.
Thanks,
That's
man.
really great.
Thank you for all the Schenectady Day
Yeah.
show does for us,
well,
too.
great, and you can leave the tool. No, that's, no, that's okay. I got
heavy.
I got more than I'm going to give you. So, and I have a couple of toolboxes too. So that'll give
Nice.
you. You don't want them now, though, right?
Can we go
Right?
over to
Because you're
your
going to
house right
move. Yeah.
now? No, we're still taking merchandise in now, every day.
Okay.
Because we're selling things as we go.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You just learned about the toolbox, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go to Empire State Aerosciences Museum, find out what they're doing and what their exhibitions are now. So stay tuned.
No, just a little water.
I heard.
Wade Costater. Wade Costater. Are you there? Wade, head dancer. Come over here.
here we are back again. What you were looking at was actually a competition that they do at these powwows, and that was one of them, and that they were just wonderful, I have to say that. But talking about other things that are wonderful, I love ECM.
Hi.
Yeah, what's going on up there?
Well, quite a bit. We have, you probably know you were out there before, and we acquired the largest model airplane in the world, a
Concorde.
25,000 foot, or 25,000 pound, 100 foot long replica of the Concorde, which we're assembling right now. And we're going to be
Putting together, huh?
We'll be mounting it out in the front of the museum. And then over the last couple of weeks, we've been acquiring a new old plane from the Air Force, from
I saw that.
Robbins Air Force Base in Georgia, a prototype of a assault version of the C-130 cargo plane called Credible Sport. It was designed to rescue the Iranian hostages, if you remember, in 1980.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I saw the movie.
It was optimized for ultra
Yeah.
short takeoff and
Yeah.
landing. It was never actually into service, but it's going to be quite an exhibit. We're going to have our August Science and Technology Aviation
Class.
Camp
Yeah,
in
that's
August.
great.
But we have two great programs that Gary Davis and John Colway are working on. Gary
They're
is-
working on World War II, I know
Well,
that.
yeah.
That's why I brought my CBI hat.
Oh, good, yes, the 528 fighter
528th
Yeah.
Fighter Squadron, and
Oh,
they flew from Burma into China.
P-40s.
Yep, and I don't know which they flew, but this is the 528th Fighter Squadron. I got this from a gentleman, Hank Snow, who passed away, and you
okay.
know, we're losing a lot of our World War
Yeah,
II
it was a
veterans.
very
We have an
squadron.
exhibit about that.
Huh?
We have an exhibit about that.
You have an exhibit
Yeah.
about
About the
that? I wore my
flying
hat,
over the
come see
hump.
it.
Over the hump.
You're welcome.
Great. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to tell you that I know a little bit about World War II. So.
Well, Gary has begun a program at the museum called Adopt a Plane program, aimed at recruiting volunteers to
And
do a really fun
Gary is a restoration
He
fan.
is, yeah, of maintaining and restoring our historic fleet of 25 jet military planes.
I love your museum. I love you. I
It's
love
unique,
that
isn't it?
museum.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love it.
And John is doing one of our best exhibits. He's just completing a spectacular exhibit on World War II aviation.
That was that room that you were working on when I was
Yeah.
there.
Yes, exactly.
Can we see some of the photos? Okay, he's bringing them up now. There we are. Okay, maybe you can kind of go through them and maybe hold it up there, Brendan, until he's done. So.
Oh, okay. The exhibit's called World War II in the Air, and we're focusing on men and women from New York State who contributed to the air power and the ultimate victory in World War II.
So now, if we look at those photos, we're just looking at the three of them, of course, show the photographs.
Yeah, the upper left is part of a 5-panel timeline of events, and that gentleman is from Burton Hills, John Mancini. He flew the plane in the picture there.
Oh, I like what you've done, yeah.
So we have little stories and photographs about several veterans, a couple that are still alive. And this gentleman on the right is Gene Gerka from Schenectady. He's very alive and well. And that's the plane he flew. The planes on the lower left were built in New York State. They were very significant fighter aircraft.
And where were they built? Where?
Buffalo and on Long Island.
And John, your exhibit right there is the plane, I think it flew with the 528 Fighter Squadron.
Oh,
which
that's
was
it?
Talking about one of the Flying Tigers.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah, you can tell because
Yeah.
of the teeth. Yeah.
yeah, the lady in that photograph is Virginia Sweet. She was a WASP, Women of the Air Corps service pilots.
I've heard of her, yeah.
And they transported planes from the factories to the bases. She was qualified to fly 23 different planes, very, very different planes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next slide. Yeah, there we go.
The upper left is a piece of flak, a piece of
I know what flak is, yeah.
that penetrated an aircraft. A gentleman named Don Borby was a bombardier on a B-24. That came through the side of his plane. He even had one piece embed in the seat that he was sitting on while he
Better
was.
it was in the seat than his seat.
Very good.
On the upper left is a oxygen cylinder. That's from a wreck of a plane that hit a mountain in Vermont, the Campbell's Hump Mountain, and a New York State vet was on that flight, Richard Denton, and he got killed on that flight. We have 3 partial mock-ups of the interiors of planes that we have in another slide.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Okay, on the,
Whoops.
well, okay, if we hold this one, this upper left picture is it's kind of the star of the show. It's a very complex computer that were in German dive bombers. And this is a very high tech. Kids can relate to this because it has a heads up.
This is from World War II.
This is a World War II. It's a computer. Now, the Americans did not have that until the 1960s in our aircraft, an equivalent. It took into account all kinds of dynamics the plane was going through as it dove down at the target. The target here is the cargo ship in the North Sea. But the New York story is really interesting. This was recovered by a 9-year-old boy in Norway whose farm was taken over by the Germans as an airfield, and they were still allowed to graze their cows on the farm. And after the war, the villages just took all those planes and plowed them into ditches just to get rid of them, and the kids raided these piles and took things home. And this kid, 9 years old, he had this in his house, and he ultimately was the stepfather of Art Harvey, who lives in Niskayuna, and recently went to a family event and brought that computer back home with him. And then we together learned all about the history and how it operates.
Isn't it how these things come together?
Yeah.
So actually, Gary's working on restorations as well. So
yes.
What you were working on the cockpit, I think, at the time.
Yeah, we were working in the cockpit of a C-130. It was an Air National Guard plane that we had. It was a nose cone that had been up in a field up near ECM for 5 years, and then the head of the restoration crew, Rich, and myself got together one fall, and we thought that it was a shame to let this cockpit sit up in the field. And you know, it was a home for mice and all kinds of little critters. So we had the vision of bringing it down into the hangar. So we brought it down last fall, and I spent most of the winter working on it, cleaning it up inside. And what we're going to do is we're going to restore the inside. We're going to make it a simulated reality vehicle so that people will be able to sit inside, watch a projection screen of an actual C-130 flying.
Going to be amazing.
It's going to be.
We're almost out of time. I
something.
don't know where the time goes, but anyway, one thing I do want to mention is these guys are volunteers. Right?
Yes, we're all volunteers.
You're a volunteer
yes,
too?
I am. Yeah.
So, you know, we talked about reach and all that. I mean, these are men that are putting their feet to the ground.
They're doing a spectacular job.
I know, and we wouldn't have the museum if it hadn't been for the volunteers.
Yes.
And you're always looking for more volunteers. If you're someone who's interested in the whole air industry and what's going on, please call this gentleman here. He's gonna come right up and help you. Yeah, great. Thank you for coming on this show.
Well,
I love
you
your
for having
place.
us.
You know that. You know I love your place. Yeah, it's always great. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be talking about Cyrano at Confetti stage. We go from one thing to the next. So, and anyway, just hang in there. We're going to take a look at the powwow. When we come back, we're going to be talking about that. Stay tuned. was up in Montreal, Canada. Wonderful event. But anyway, you're having an event, and it's going to be at the Tenbrook Mansion, which is a historic place.
Yes, it is indeed. Yes, we're doing Cyrano, which is
the guy with the nose?
The guy with the nose, exactly. Roxanne and Christian and the whole deal. It's a play that was written in the late 19th century by Edmond Rostand, and our version is translated by William Hollinger and adapted by him and Aaron Posner. And it's a very updated, lively version of
Are you doing
Cyrano.
it modern time?
No, we're doing sort of period fantasy, creative version of it. We're not strictly sticking to 17th century France, which is when the real Cyrano, who was a
Was
real
that a real
person.
person?
He was a real person.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a poet, playwright, soldier, just like the character.
But he couldn't say his own words? Is that a myth?
No, he was very good with words, and that's one of the basis of the character in the play. And he actually did have a rather large nose, and he died at age 35.
Oh my
so
gosh.
he didn't last that long.
Like Edgar Allan Poe, you get a good writer and then they don't finish.
Yeah, the play, when it was introduced in France toward the end of the 19th century, was a tremendous sensation. It was the most attended and performed play at the time. People just went wild for it, and people who come to see the show will find out why. Cyrano is an amazing character. It's an amazing story. Most of it true, some of it true. It's just it's a comedy, tragedy, fantasy, adventure.
Yeah, everything you could possibly want. So Alex, what do you play in?
I play the actor Montfleury and a soldier named Etienne. Montfleury's kind of, pompous, inflated ego. And then Etienne's he's one of the soldiers, but like me, he's a bit of a putz, hurts himself.
And what are you playing, George?
I have the pleasure of playing the villain, Comte de Guiche.
Oh, look at that face. Is that a villainous face? I don't think so.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. It's a great part.
You can twirl your mustache, maybe. Make it.
Yes. The Comte de Guiche is enamored of the same woman that Cyrano is enamored of, that we all know, Roxanne. And he uses a more direct, less poetic approach, let's say, to romance than Cyrano does. It's a great part for me, and we've got a great cast. Stephen Hennell is playing Cyrano, and he is just absolutely perfect for the part.
How many are in the cast?
About 13, 14.
Oh, that's a good size. That's 15, a good sized cast.
Yes. Well, we have all of the backyard of Tenbrook Mansion to play with. Hopefully, we do perform inside if it rains.
If it rains. But, it's a smaller space.
It's smaller, and it's uncomfortably hot inside the mansion. It's
not air?
It's not air conditioned. No, they didn't. The Tenbrooks never put in air conditioning.
Well, I mean, what were they thinking back in the 1800s or whatever it was?
Right. Yeah, but the backyard is gorgeous.
It's
There's
beautiful.
a garden.
It's a beautiful garden.
Right, and it's in shade most of the day. So even the
But you're
matinee
performing at night
performances-
except for Sundays, right?
Correct. Yep.
So it's what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings, and Sunday afternoon?
We start on Friday, August 3rd.
Oh, Friday. Okay, I'm sorry.
And then the second weekend, we do have a Thursday performance.
That's where I got the Thursday.
And Sundays, so those performances are at 7:30 p.m. and the two Sunday performances are at 2 p.m. And the 2 Sundays and Thursday performances are free, courtesy of Price
Oh,
Job
that's really nice.
Market 32 and Stewart's. So
Just the Thursday performance.
And the
no,
Sundays.
Thursdays and both Sundays.
Both
are-
Sundays and Thursdays. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah. So those who can make it to the free performances, you are more than welcome.
Okay.
Courtesy
And I'll even mention that in my my weekly mailing to let people know so that they can come out and enjoy a
Right.
wonderful play. Yeah. So and you're with the Confetti stage, and you have a pretty good lineup for next year, or do you? Or have you decided on it yet?
I'm not really. I don't recall exactly what the season is. I'm not really sure what.
That's okay.
Confetti
Well,
is
and
doing.
that was we didn't really talk
One
about.
thing you can be sure of is
It's gonna be a good
Confetti
one.
is going to do something unique. The last 3 plays that Confetti have done are Private Fears in Public Places,
That was, yeah.
King Lear, and Cyrano. Very rare for a community theater to take on 3 projects like that consecutively. So you know that next season is going to be interesting too.
Yeah, well, and there's never, you know, with our theater, what would I say? This community is rich with theater.
Thank
Community
God.
theater, and also, you know, you've repertory theater. And I mean, we have proctors. I mean, there's just so much going on. But take advantage of seeing Cyrano on Sunday afternoon if you want to have a free performance, or on Thursday. But if not, support them. I hope they'd have a donation jar that they can.
Absolutely.
Because we
Even on
need
the free nights, there's a
That's what I
donation
mean.
jar.
You
Yeah.
you really need to support community theater. It's such an outlook, venting for a lot of people to get out there and get on the stage and say their piece or whatever lines they have to say. It's really a great way to express yourself and have fun.
Yes.
And make a family, new family, right? New family for every show.
Yes.
We've been talking with George Filio and also Alex Grandin. Is that correct,
Yes.
Alex? And you've been acting how long?
Oh God.
I know how long George has, forever.
Started in high school and just really haven't stopped
You haven't
much.
stopped. Good for you. Keep it up too. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you both, and I hope that I guess I should say break a leg, but I don't want you to really break a leg, but break a leg the way it's meant to be. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking with the Albany College of Pharmacy and Trinity Alliance. So stay tuned.
All right, boys, come over here. Line up. Travel. Practice. You might get this in your contest. Come on now. Practice time.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have my alma mater on. I'm telling you, I love Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. But right now we have Colleen McLaughlin, and you're with the Albany College of Pharmacy. She's the associate professor of, and this is a new, because we didn't have this when I was teaching there. No, it was like I looked at your title and I'm going, what is that? So tell us what your title is.
So I'm the chair of the Department of Population Health Sciences.
Okay.
We have 2 programs. One is a Bachelor's of Public Health, Bachelor's of Science in Public Health.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's a relatively new program. We've graduated 4 students so far.
That's a start.
Yeah, yeah, and we have an incoming class of about 16 or 17 students.
And it'll
so we're
keep
really
building,
excited.
I'm sure.
Yep.
And you have now, you've been working on this collaboratory. I love the word. And Sara Adams is with us, and she also is with with Trinity. You've kind of formed a partnership with Trinity Alliance of the Capital Region, and I guess they go Capital. It's called Trinity Alliance Albany if you go to their website. Is that correct?
Correct.
So tell us what you do
So I oversee a brand new community health worker initiative that serves the city of Albany in addressing resident social determinants of health to try to get them connected to health and wellness resources in the region.
And that would be anything like free screenings but what is a collaboratory? I mean, I need to, because we had a photo of it up there, or maybe we did. Brennan, maybe you can bring up the photo of the collaboratory. So we can, there it is. So tell us what that is.
So the reason we have a schematic rather than a real photo is because we're actually outfitting it right now.
Yeah.
They're finishing up the plumbing actually. And we're hoping to move in the next week or two.
And this center is going to be open to the community?
It's going to be open to the community. It's on the first floor of 3 Lincoln Park.
This is on the south end, right?
In the south end. It's one of the Albany Housing Authority high-rises. And it's across the building from A Village, which is one of our other partners, community organization. And so we'll have Sara's program there, and we have some programs from Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. We're going to have pharmacists there, the community health workers, and
are you going to work the students through this process?
Yes, we will. Both the pharmacy students, the Pharm D students, will come in for their intermediate and advanced practice education, and also the public health students.
Would this be part of the rotation?
We're going to make it. We're going to get it part of the rotation. We'll have to set that up once we get the pharmacist on board.
Right. Yeah. Good.
So
we're going to that supervision.
Yeah. So we have a public health pharmacy program that we're just going to be starting out of the collaboratory. The pharmacist and the person's team will be doing home visits and things like that.
Oh wow! That's
and
quite
assisting.
a bit.
Yeah, and assisting the community health workers and the resident outreach workers.
What does Trinity do? I mean, granted that you're an outreach program for health. How are you funded, and how does that work?
So the program I oversee is funded through an initiative called Medicaid Redesign. Specifically the Delivery System Reform Incentive Payment Program, which is a New York State initiative to try to reduce the amount of avoidable hospitalizations that are seen by the Medicaid population.
Yeah, because they end up going there as their first, which is ridiculous. I mean, you go into a hospital, if you're in an ER room, you're paying big bucks, or somebody's paying big bucks.
Right, and it's really not the level of care that's often appropriate, and if you can get connected to primary care, or sometimes a warm meal or just an inviting atmosphere. So we're working to intervene to prevent those by addressing the other social determinants of health or life domains that might be on the pathway to somebody having an avoidable ED visit, emergency room visit.
I mean, well, a lot of times people just don't know where to go, and I mean, if you go to urgent care, and then sometimes it works, and sometimes they say, "No, you got to go to the ER," because they don't have the whatever it is they need.
Right, and the ERs, you're just told call 911 if you don't feel well, and it's a behavior we've been told to do over time, and we've learned.
And it's really a waste of our health system.
Right.
When it could be utilized in a better fashion rather than for minor things.
Right, and through our partnership with Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, we're really hoping to collaborate to make the system, the healthcare system, more effective and work for the community.
And keep the costs down, because most of the, when I see sometimes the money that, like somebody falls and they didn't get hurt, but we better call 911 and get an ambulance and get it's like all that money is going ka-ching, 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 that we really need to keep our resources, under control. And I don't mean they shouldn't get help.
Right. Sometimes emergencies
But there's other ways to get help rather than spending all that money.
And sometimes it's a matter of not having the resources to purchase their medications, or maybe the doctor's office hours aren't convenient to go in for screening or well child visits and things, so they skip visits.
Work, if they're working poor, they got to keep that job, and yet they
and they can't. And your child is ill. You may not be able to get off work to take your child to the doctor. It may get worse to the point where the child has a fever that they need to go to the emergency room.
So there's a lot of reasons. Attending to it early enough.
So
like
there's a lot
you're
of
doing intervention.
There's a lot of barriers to people getting into the healthcare system that we don't really realize sometimes, and that's what the community health workers are working with people.
I think it's a great program,
address the
really
barriers.
great, and the fact that you're in the South End, where the need is probably greater than a lot of other areas. Because you have the Whitney Health, is that?
The Whitney Health Center is in, that's actually in Arbor Hill.
Arbor Hill, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that, because I'm trying to get in my mind, the
layout.
the layout of where we are.
Yeah.
But this one that you're working on right now, is it 3 Lincoln? Is it 4 Lincoln Square?
3 Lincoln
3
Square.
Lincoln Square.
3
yeah.
Lincoln.
And it is really a healthcare desert there. There's not really a lot of healthcare providers. There was one pharmacy. The college opened another pharmacy, a student-operated pharmacy.
Yeah, I remember that, because you did one in Schenectady and one there,
Yeah, but other than that, there's not a lot of services in that immediate area. People, if they are ill, if you have to take a taxi or a bus to get to...
it's an impediment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like one more thing I have to do. Can I do? Do I have the money to do it? You know, so that there's a lot.
And sometimes you have to
really
truck your family around with you because you don't have child care. There's so many things that could be addressed easier to make life easier for people.
Absolutely. Public health is an issue that really, I mean, we see people that fight public health sometimes. We don't want that, we don't want this. But it's important because we are a community, we are a society. We have to watch out for each other, health-wise.
And it does save money.
Absolutely.
There is a return on investment, as you were saying. An ED visit or a hospitalization costs a lot more money than buying an air conditioner. You know, you buy an air conditioner for a couple $100s and you prevent an ED visit from heat stroke.
Absolutely.
And it's a win-win.
That's a good point. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
You guys are right on track. I really want to applaud the College of Pharmacy and Greg Dewey for what he's been doing there. He's been doing a lot of outreach in the community. He went to the home health over here in Schenectady, opened up a pharmacy there, rotating students through there, working with a registered pharmacist. And what's happening is they're learning, and yet the community is getting a pharmacy located where they should be.
Where they need it, yeah.
Because they moved out. The other one, Walgreens, I think, had moved out of there. And they took up the shield there. And then now, over in Albany, they've opened another one. I mean, it's a way of being part of the community and not just an academic center that's kind of got blinders on as to what's going on. Yeah. Because really, I mean, once you're in a college setting, you kind of forget about the world around you because you're so busy with this. But pharmacy is unique because they deal with people. And I think the idea of getting the students out there working with the people mano a mano, you know, person to person, it makes it much easier for them to establish their career.
Yes, and I have pharmacy students in my classes, and I love teaching them because they really are invested in the community and in public health in addition to learning their profession.
Yeah, we need more people working in public health, we really do. And I like the idea that the college now has that program. That's really great, and I hope it expands to even more than 17 next year.
So do we.
No, it will. And I applaud Greg Dewey for his vision of making things a little bit more, I guess, open and looking outside the box.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, when I went there, it was the Albany College of Pharmacy, period. Now we've got the health sciences, and that's great. And I love the partnership that you're doing too, and along with iVillage, that's great.
Yeah.
So thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
And telling our viewers about it and showing the photos. We did show some photos up there.
Yep.
And so I got to visit it when you're all done.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely. Come to our open house in September.
Good. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to be talking with John Russell Kring. Oh my gosh, he's just a trip. Come on, John, get down here. We're going to take another quick break.
flight, stand by. Hey, we're going to take a break here.
Oh, and you know those countdowns, don't you? When you do your films, do you do the thing with the little thing?
Well, actually, when I hear a countdown like that, I'm expecting something to explode, so I don't know what happened.
John has been on the show before. We've been, the last time I was on, I think we were talking about Darcy. I loved that film.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a screening at the Kew Gardens Film Festival next week in down in Queens. Yes, down in Queens.
In that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's up for 3 awards. I had to buy a bow tie. Why? Because it's a black tie affair at the awards ceremony.
Yeah.
Yes, but I bought a black leather one because I'm cool like that.
I think you got to be cool.
You got to be cool like that.
You got a trademark here.
Actually, I also wanted to point out the fact that I obviously have no friends. There were about 54 people on before me, and we're down to just me.
He's got a lovely wife, Tracy.
If you put a pork chop around my neck, the dogs won't play with me. So I don't know exactly what happened here. I should pull like a homeless person. It's like, please make me feel like I'm not all by myself. So
no, John is always crowded. As a matter of fact, when
it's crowded in my head.
When we go into screenings, it's like very rare that I can get near him to get in a shot with him. So because everybody else wants to be with
That's
John.
because I'm an elitist and I don't like to talk to people.
Oh, is that
I want to keep them at bay. It's too much for me.
You're working on documentaries, huh?
One of the things that we're doing a lot of is we're finding these projects like Mary Paley's.
Oh my God! The neighborhoods
the neighborhood that disappeared, and the new one, which is the story of her father, Bob Paley, his photography. We talked about that last time. Check out on Facebook because that has some major announcements coming up as far as some premieres and things like that. And there's one called Dancer that we helped with, which was featured on Featured. It's featured. You're the one that has the thing, and I can't talk.
I can't take my S's.
And I can't do my T's. And between us, we're like Abbott and Costello. All right.
Who's on first?
Yeah. Third base. It was featured on NBC News. It's called Dancer, D-A-N-S-E-U-R. And it is about bullying in the ballet community.
The weight thing.
Well, and also the fact that being a male dancer, 96% of them actually drop out. Because of that. So it is literally.
Tell that to Baryshnikov.
Right, exactly. It's in New Zealand. It's in London. It's in San Francisco.
You mean they're
bullied? All around the world.
They're bullied?
Oh gosh, yes.
I had no idea.
Oh yes, yeah. It's an incredible documentary, and like I said, it was featured on NBC News. So we got to work with him on editing that, and and then we have our own projects. Are you familiar with a TV film on WMHT where they show local films?
Absolutely.
I have 2 that are going to be on August 19th.
Okay.
Yes, that I directed.
Okay, August 19th. That's a Tuesday.
No, it's not.
No,
it's a Sunday.
It's not. Wait, Tuesday. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday.
You didn't want to say Sunday because it's an S word.
I'm trying to.
Sorry. You wanted to say it's an unday.
Sunday. That's right.
Exactly.
No S's. I'm sorry.
Yes. So I have a lot of stuff going on. We also have a feature that we've gotten a producer for here in Schenectady, who invested a nice amount of money, but we're still looking for more, and I already have some stars signed on, one from Hannah, Montana, and some other people. So it's been very exciting. Everything hasn't happened the way that I wanted it to, but that's life, baby.
I've known you a long time,
That's
John,
the big business.
And you really, you've really created some great stuff, great films.
I do my best. I do my best.
It's
got to be personal,
But I gotta say this: his wife is a fabulous videographer.
Whose wife? Oh, you mean my wife? Oh, yes.
Was there somebody else? That was that homeless person you were trying to bring in.
You said his wife instead of your wife.
Oh, your wife. I'm sorry. I'm talking in the audience. His wife.
My wife, Tracy.
Yeah, she's really great.
Tracy is the best there is.
I read about your film when you did Darcy.
Yes.
And the guy with the mower. He comes across, and you didn't want him. You didn't want him to mow.
I didn't want him to mow, and he said expletives to me, and he threw me off his property. But what happened is he came across and created this giant billowing tower of dust that went up about literally 50 feet into the air, which created the most beautiful shot we could have ever imagined.
You made lemonade out of lemons.
That's why I try to pee off people or pee people off or whatever it is, just so amazing things will happen. I'm very good at that.
You are. You got him really mad. And he's
I got him really so mad. It's like, I'm going to show there. You know, he was like that. So there you go. And then we just got this incredible shot and the light and everything happening. And it's magic. That's what happens. You know, you get magic on film.
Yeah, well, it is,
Hopefully.
and it's like I say, I've never seen anything that you've done. I mean, there's a few that Little By Peep. I love that one.
Little By Peep was so much fun. And you can watch it on Epics.
Oh, it is.
Isn't that fun?
Oh,
that you
great?
You can like go through and see. Oh, wow, I could watch Jigsaw or Little By Peep. There you go.
But he's fun. He gets creative. I love the idea with wasn't it the Oreo cookies or the ding dongs or some kind of for the dog stuff on the floor.
Oh, gee whiz. Man, you're going back here. You're talking about they were little doggy poops. They were little doggy poops, and they were not ding dongs they were mashed up Little Debbie brownies.
That was one of those little.
But see, you know, it's perfect because your hand perfectly mimics a turd. Isn't that wonderful how God created that? Where our hands will
you
make
never
turds.
would have known it if you had not watched this show.
Absolutely. All of your hands out there will make turds if you just do it like that. Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we're going to be checking out WMHT
on the August
19th,
All right,
which is a Sunday.
Exactly. It's an unday. It's an unday. Exactly. And Dancer, D-A-N-S-E-R,
I gotta see that.
Check that out.
I want to see. Where's that?
Well, you can find that on YouTube.
Okay,
the trailer for that.
I will.
And also Mary Paley's.
And
give me money so I can make a big movie with the Hannah
Next
Montana
time,
people.
bring a can with you and pass it around.
I need it. I need it. Somebody give me a can so I can make turds.
We've been talking with John Russell Crane. Bring your wife next time.
I know. Keep me in check. See, in that way, it'll seem like somebody likes me.
They do. They love you.
Oh, I appreciate
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be talking with Dance Hickok. This is an amazing place, the Tribes Hill Heritage Center. You got to check that out.
I'm sorry, there were a lot of S's there.
There were a lot of S's. Stay tuned. Oh, my God.
Too cute.
Okay, you saw some of the powwow. Is that traditional, the powwow that we just showed?
Yes, there are more and more powwows very similar to that all across the country, and we are sort of ending up with a generic powwow that is considered common. Dances were traditionally done in many different ways by different communities
and that's what we were seeing there with some of that film.
Yes, that's one of the more generic style that are done with huge numbers, usually called an intertribal powwow, where people are coming and bringing their individual clothing, but particular dances are repeated at all of those.
I have to say, this woman is so knowledgeable. I can't believe we went through the Tribes Hill, not through the entire place, but the exhibition. She could pick up anything and tell you the whole history of it, how it was made. I mean, this woman is amazing. You are amazing.
Thank you.
No. So what do you have here?
I just brought a fan that is a dance fan, and to have one of these would be quite the honor.
Can we hold it up maybe?
Sure.
It's okay. I'll hold it like that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The macaw feathers here in the blue and the red, those are from a macaw bird that lives in South America and in Central America, and these feathers would have been traded all the way to the Central Plains.
These are not colored, right?
These are not dyed.
That's
the
what I
pieces
meant.
down here, the small feathers in this area, are dyed, and so are the threads that are used here. Dyes were very traditional. The one thing is that when you try to look at the old materials, the dyes are not as vibrant. And half the time, if you're looking at a really old basket, if you want to know what color it was, you have to take off the lid and look inside and you go, wow, that's what color it originally was. It doesn't, you know, people look at the things that are old and they're going, oh, they didn't know how to do the dyes. I'm going, no,
they
dyes
did.
fade
They
in
fade.
sunlight, whether it's the clothing or the traditional natural dyes that are used in basketry.
This is gorgeous. And they would use this as a ceremonial dance?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what else have you brought? Because, I mean, just please go to Viaport. Go and visit that exhibition. It's huge. It's not just little, it's huge.
Well, we started out originally with, at the Viaport Mall, with just a few cases, and then we started adding other ones, and we were given more cases, and as we've gone through, we've added to the other sides. This one,
this is amazing. This is gorgeous. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't.
This is one that was from the Bar Harbor Native American Basket Museum, and they had this one and another one that I have at the mall.
And are these shells? What are they?
This
Tell me, what is it?
This is
vertebra.
Yeah. Well, I first looked at this one and I was in shock because the bottom is perfect. All alignments are exact. I took a look at it and I thought it was carved in bone.
Yeah.
And then I took another look and I said, no, that is
the
woven
basket.
grasses and dyed woven grasses. And the perfection of it kind of speaks to how good this basket maker was. And this would be the Passamaquoddy one, and a different one is Penobscot.
And then this is interesting because I would never have thought this was Native American.
Yes, and this is, I have all kinds of different pieces that have the tufting. The woman who does this is off Six Nations Reservation in Canada and will be coming to work with us. And the tufting is extremely difficult, only for animals that you can use to do it because they have to have the hollow hairs.
Oh.
So you can only do it with elk, muskox, moose, and caribou. Some of them are darker than others.
I can't imagine that's going to be hard to get, isn't it? Or
we manage.
You manage, yeah.
Good
go,
trade.
Go up north, get those caribou.
Yeah, good trade. So we
You're
find
still trading, huh?
Oh, forever. We never quit. We are bringing in. They bring in the hairs, and then you actually have to cluster the hairs, pull them through, attach them to the box or to the leather, and then you have to cluster them, and then you trim them to fit. Amazing, absolutely amazing work on this.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned.
We have all kinds of pieces done in tufting, but you'll find that in the Iroquois section, which is right beside the Algonquin section, people who lived side by side to each other and did not end up doing the same arts and crafts. This has become a fascination.
But we're
that
talking
they're being
about arts
done.
and crafts, but didn't they utilize these things?
Yes, absolutely everything.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we think of it as arts and crafts is something you put on the shelf. But they were using their baskets. They were utilizing all of it.
People aren't thinking in terms of what Native American people made with just things found in nature. These are all objects that start very, very, very simple. And the detail is incredible. The precision, you have to know what you're working with. And we find the browns and the whites had of the porcupine quill. They all start brown on one end, turn white on the other.
Oh.
And one of the things you have to do is perfectly align it if you want like this
pattern.
Yeah, lace work on the side and quill over quill. So, I don't know if I can
these are the quills too over here. Can you get that? I don't know. Bring that in maybe a little bit. Yeah, there it is. Take a look at that. Those
layer
are
upon layer.
And I'm going to tip it sideways so you can see the side as well. That's just an amazing piece. It's gorgeous.
Most of the pieces in the collection are chosen for the detail, the perfection of alignments, and to make sure that they are all.
And I want to hold this up because
Yep.
there's
Why don't we swap?
yeah, I don't want to hurt that. I don't hurt that. I don't want to damage it. This one you mentioned about the tulips.
Oh, yes. The beadwork has changed over time. And one of the things in the local area is that you could not originally do beadwork that was involving animals because that was considered paganism. And then you get yourself in really big trouble, in a very big hurry. So the question is, what could you do? So I have a bag that I showed you that somebody must have drawn on a piece of paper. This is what you can do in flowers. And the Native people found out the Dutch would buy the tulip things.
And there's tulips
anything that has tulips on it.
Yeah.
So the next thing
Isn't
you
that
know,
gorgeous?
Native people are making the bags with tulips all over them because that's something you can sell. One of the things is if you're...
Look at that. I mean, look at the work on that. Can you see that? I mean, that is an amazing, the detail on that and the colors on those tulips are just beautiful. I just want to make sure you pick that up on the camera as well. And then this is done, that's
this
leather.
is leather,
That's leather.
and that's on a pony. So this is what I call a ponytail bag.
Oh.
This is really the back end of a pony. So you can
out.
imagine originally that these would have been a great deal larger bags, but this is a smaller sample of one. We have a 3D world, so there's sizing on both.
Right, and I'm just, Brendan, I'm going to say who's coming up next week, and then we're going to finish up the interview. We're going to have the Animal Protective Foundation on, talking about their neuter program. The MySci will be on, talking about their upcoming activities, a pancreatic cancer research walk. Proctors, we have the Rensselaer City Esplanade, I'll say that 3 times, and Toys for Tots will be on with their big train. This is another piece that I'd like to talk about. And then again, that is a foot of a...
it's the toes down here, the caribou, and the back toe, which is kind of like on the back of the heel.
Yeah.
And this is coming out of Alaska.
Fetlock, is that what they
and
call
so
it?
this is the hairs that you would have used
Oh.
to do the tufting. So I imagine probably some of the other parts went into tufting, because you do find tufting in Canada.
And what would you use this for, just as wall hanging?
That's a
or-
wall hanging in this case.
Yeah, that's beautiful. With a face on there too, that's...
Yes, wood.
Oh, you know what it is? I can tell now. It's a person.
Here.
It looks like a person, yeah. With the
I
hands,
would say in a mask.
The hands and the feet. That's great. Oh, I love that. I love that. That is really cool. That's really nice. Well, this is only an example of what you would see there. Please go over there. They've got jewelry. They've got baskets. They've got, it's like everything is just a feat. It's something for your eyes to just enjoy. They've got